We all want to be chosen. We all want to be part of the Lord's kingdom. But there are so many different ideas about what that is that we find there is conflict. I want to share an experience of mine in being part of a church in South Africa. Now, South Africa as a nation is what Nelson Mandela referred to as a rainbow nation. Think about all the colors in a rainbow that all come together to make a beautiful rainbow. And that served to describe the people in South Africa. Just the array, the vast array of different people in South Africa. The different cultures, the different languages, the different traditions, all coming together to make one people. In the church that I served in, our church represented South Africa. There was a diversity of people within the church. There was a rainbow of nations, of languages within our church. And so was the rest of our community. And the whole community was made up of a variety of faiths is what I want to focus on particularly. When you came into the suburb, on the corner was a Hindu temple. And at the first road, there was a Muslim mosque. And the second road you turned in, and down the road you found the new church. And a little bit around the corner was an evangelical Christian church. And that was just in one little corner of the suburb. But it didn't matter what faith background you came from. When it came to the community, the whole community took part. So when there were projects, when we needed to come together for security reasons, everyone came together. And no one asked, so what faith are you? What do you believe? Are you chosen? We were coming together around a common good, and those questions never came up. But those questions, unfortunately, do come up from time to time. Are you chosen? Are you part of the right faith? If we had to ask those questions within that community, then we would start to see division. Then things would start to break down. And if we look around the world and we look at the conflicts that exist, we would see that a lot of them have to do with some element of, I am chosen and you are not. My faith is better than your faith. So who are the chosen? What does it mean to be chosen? We first need to look at what causes that need to feel like I am chosen. And the cause for that is our own selfishness. Or a word we use in the new church is proprium. That sense of self that we have that is given to us by the Lord, a sense that this life is mine, but we use it not for godly purposes, but for our purposes. We use it for self. We center it around ourself and my needs and what I want. That is our proprium, that's selfishness. And when it comes to faith, we take our church and we say, this is my church, and from a selfish perspective, what our proprium does, it wants to lift us up and say, well, I am better than other people. That I know more than other people. That I have the right idea and you have the wrong idea. That this is the way the Lord works and this is the box that the Lord fits into and only I know and you don't. That's our selfishness. That's our proprium that says only we can understand. Only I know who God is. But the Lord doesn't fit neatly into a man-made box. The Lord is much bigger than that. The Lord is much, much bigger than that. And I want to turn to the scriptures in the New Testament, reading from John chapter 10, verse 16. This is the Lord's words. He says, and he's speaking to, at this stage, he was speaking to the Jewish church, but he's speaking to each one of us too. He said, "Other sheep I have which are not of this fold." So whichever faith you're in, whether you're new church or Christian or Muslim, Hindu, there are other sheep. There are other sheep out there. There are other folds that the Lord is calling to. So there are other sheep which I have, which are not of this fold, the Lord tells us. Them also I must bring, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. So in this verse, the Lord is telling us that He's trying to pull together all people, of all faiths, of all backgrounds. The Lord is trying to pull many people together. In the new church, we have a similar idea. In the new church, we see the Lord looking at all of His creation, all the people of His creation, and seeing them as one human being. If we think about a human being, we're made up of many different parts, many different cells, but all of them come together to form one human being. Like the rainbow, there are many different colors, but they all come together to form the beautiful rainbow. The Lord's church is much, much bigger than what we ever think it is. The Lord is trying to include more and more people out there to perfect this human form that He sees in front of Him. So who are the chosen? Who are part of this flock that the Lord is calling? Do you have to believe in Jesus? Do you have to be Christian? Well, let's step back for a moment and let's look at the principles by which the Lord works. I'm going to read to you from Micah 6, verse 8, a very popular verse. You probably know it off by heart. The Lord says, speaking through Micah, "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." And out of that beautiful verse, we can take three things. Firstly, that we've got to acknowledge the divine, that He is leading and guiding all things. Secondly, that He's teaching us right from wrong through the sacred scriptures that He gives to us. And thirdly, to live a loving life according to those principles. So these three essential ideas make up those who are called by the Lord. Believing in the divine, going to His sacred scriptures to learn about Him and the life that He calls us to, and then living that life of love. So those are the chosen that the Lord is calling to. Those who want in heart and mind to follow the Lord. Those are the chosen. And that's who we should be striving to be. Are we chosen? Are we living that life? I want to read to you from the teachings for the new church that goes along these similar lines. It's from the book Secrets of Heaven, number 6637. Everyone who leads a good life in charity and faith is a church, and is a kingdom of the Lord. So everyone, there's no restriction on that, everyone who leads a good life of charity, which is care and thoughtfulness towards the neighbor, is a church, or is part of the Lord's kingdom, is chosen. So here the Lord is laying down the very simple steps, the very basics of what He asks of each one of us, to lead a good life of following Him as He teaches us. So how do we come to this place of following the Lord? How do we come to this place of being chosen? I want to go back to Micah and just pick out that word humbly. Humbly walk with your Lord. Humbly walk with God. What is humility? Humility is the idea that we lowering ourselves and lifting up the Lord. That is humility towards the Lord, is lowering ourselves and lifting up the Lord. He is more important than us. But what is the enemy to humility is our selfishness. Our selfishness does not like to be humble. Our selfishness wants to be lifted up. Our selfishness wants to be at the top. Our selfishness wants to be in control and have things our way. Our selfishness tells us that we know everything. We know what is right, we know what is wrong, and we feel free to tell people such. And humility is quite the opposite. Humility is realizing we do not know. I do not know everything that the Lord teaches. I do not know where the Lord is leading my life. It's a place of being unsure, but wanting to know, wanting to follow, and that's called innocence. So humility, realizing we don't know everything, we don't know our path, we don't know what the Lord wants from us, but in innocence, being willing to follow the Lord, being willing to learn as we go. When we are in a state of selfishness and we think that we know everything, we close ourselves off to the Lord. If we think we have everything sorted out and we think we know this step and that step and everything's perfectly in our box, where is the space for the Lord to teach us? Where is the space for the Lord to guide us in new ways? And life has a nasty habit of coming along and making things difficult for us when we are in a selfish state. The Lord wants us to be humble. Because when we are humble, we are comfortable in being unsure. We are comfortable in not really knowing, but willing to find out. And there's that openness. I'm willing to find out more. I'm willing to follow the Lord. And that willingness is a willingness to doubt things. Well, what do I believe? Is what I believe actually right? Right? Questions are valuable. Questions are welcome within faith. Because it helps us then to look for answers. Well, what is the answer to this question? And that's where the Lord comes into it, and His Word. And so we go to the Lord in His Word to learn and to find out some answers. But more importantly, the Lord gives us life experience. To doubt things, to question things, to find answers, and then to put those into our lives. To go and experience living. And that, the living of our faith, is where the Lord truly teaches us. Living our faith is where we really experience our shortcomings. But if we are following humbly, if we're asking questions along the way, we open ourselves up so that the Lord can teach us in those moments, like the prodigal son, far from home, doing things that are wrong. We do things that are wrong. But if we are open, asking questions, unsure of where we're going, we are open to the Lord guiding us and teaching us. So our faith is not something that is just about a book and knowing what is written in it. It's about living a common good. And belonging in the Lord's kingdom is not just about knowing the right facts, but it's about living the life of love. And so we are chosen when we choose to follow in those ways, to follow what the Lord teaches, and He teaches love. And in all major religions around the world, we find that essential within all religions, to love our neighbor, to care for them and treat them as we would want them to treat us. This is the idea that binds us all together. This is the idea that we are then chosen when we love one another. So the Lord's kingdom is so much bigger than just what I know and what I believe. There are many paths, and the Lord is leading everyone to Him. All those who hear His call to love are drawn towards the Lord. Each one of us in our own lives choose which faith tradition we're going to follow. Each one of us choose how we're going to live our life. And so the question I leave with you today is, how does your life, the life that you're living, reflect the truths of your faith? Because the way that we currently live, the things that we're currently doing in life, reflect what we currently believe. For example, if we believe it's okay to get angry, we'll find anger in our life. Is that perhaps what our church teaches? No. But it's the faith that we're currently living, isn't it? And so realizing where we are far from the Lord and trying to live a better life. What is your faith? What are you choosing to live? Does it lead to loving other people? If our faith is leading to love other people, then we are part of the Lord's chosen. Amen.